You probably spent tens, if not hundreds of hours stuck on sales calls where you need to walk the prospect down through the basics over and over and over again. And you just end up wondering, like, why did this guy even book a call with me? But you keep burning time that should be spent closing instead of explaining what you do. And you don't need to keep burning money pumping more leads into a sales funnel that's clearly leaking and leaving prospects uneducated about you and your offer. And so in this video, I'll show you exactly how to build an education layer into your existing sales pipeline that will increase the quality of your existing leads on autopilot, so you can actually spend more time closing deals. Now, if you already have an active pipeline, whether that's cold email, cold DMs, paid ads, referrals, or content that you're posting on Instagram or LinkedIn, you're already getting leads. Calls are getting booked, and that's great. Now, the problem is your prospects are showing up on calls without real context of you and what you do, which they need to actually have a real conversation with you and actually talk about how you can solve their problems. And this is something where I see a lot of agency owners or coaches do wrong, because they have their reply rate metrics, they have their book to call percentage, and really all that they're focusing on is how they can be better on the actual sales calls to be able to close more, instead of fixing the underlying issue of their prospects being uneducated when they hop on a call with you. And this is a problem that I'm going to show you how to solve by using long form YouTube content that you already have or you can start making. And to give you an idea, I'm going to show you an example of just how powerful YouTube can be when integrated within an existing pipeline. So for the sake of the example, let's say that you're booking 30 calls a month, 20 of which end up being unqualified or uneducated enough for you to be able to close them right on that call. And the math here is very simple. You want to focus on those 20 calls that weren't a fit. If you could transform even 10 of those 20 calls back into fully qualified, educated leads ready to hear your pitch and see if it makes sense for them to work with you, all of a sudden you've doubled your potential close rates. Because before, if you were closing 5 deals out of 10 booked calls, now you're closing 10. So you're essentially doubling your business. Number one, you want to set up a pre-call flow. The moment someone books a call with you, before they ever show up, videos get sent to them automatically. And this is not a generic welcome email or a shitty VSL that you send to everybody that roughly outlines your business model. I'm talking about specific YouTube content that directly breaks down your process to achieve the results that you promise. So this is actual content that educates your prospects on your process or shows them actual results that you've gotten before. This can also be a case study video that you've made with a previous client, in which you also directly break down the process that it took your client to go from A to Z. And obviously, you're not going to be sending the same video to every prospect that booked a call with you. You want to actually categorize your content based on the topics that they actually cover, so that depending on who actually books a call with you, you actually send them relevant videos that are going to pre-educate them about you and your offer, but obviously for their use case or something that's going to be relevant to them. This way, by the time they show up on the call, they're already going to know who you are, how you think. They've already seen proof that what you do actually works. And this way, your calls are going to start much different, because now instead of your prospects asking you to explain what you do, they're basically going to come in saying like, hey, I saw you on YouTube, great content. And then they're actually going to get into asking specific questions that actually matter and actually move this sales call process further. And also, if the prospect has any questions before hopping on the call, you can just pull content from your YouTube channel and you can actually give them a real world example they can watch instead of just a generic answer with an example and a case study. Another example is if someone potentially doesn't show up on the call, the typical follow-up is, it's fine if it's not the right time. Let's see if we can reschedule. Does next week work for you? Whatever. That's fine. But it's weak, because all you're doing is relying on the past trust that you've built up until this point, which obviously wasn't enough because they didn't show up on the call. Instead, here, you can send them another YouTube video that you have prepared to reestablish authority and trust. And this way, you're also re-engaging with extra value instead of just following up, asking them to reschedule the call. In this case, you need to remind them why they actually booked a call with you in the first place. And this way, you're also doing it without coming across as desperate. And also another example is, let's say you didn't close the prospect on the first call, which is fine. Not every sales strategy is designed to close on the first call. But even then, let's say that you simply didn't close and the prospect went cold. With this strategy, you have the opportunity to send them content to reestablish your positioning and get them warmed up again. So for example, you're producing new relevant content, new case study videos. As you produce new content, you also want to plug it back into this education layer within your sales pipeline so that past unclosed cold leads continuously get value and you continuously build authority with them them to a point to where they eventually just like want to get back on a call with you because you have undeniable authority and you've educated them enough. So now your collaboration is much more clear in their head. And it just leaves with a feeling of you not really chasing them, just continuously sharing value. And obviously this goes beyond these very few specific examples, because every lead source that you have, whether that's cold email replies, leads replying to your ads, Instagram DMs, or referrals, all of these people are coming into your pipeline cold or sort of lukewarm. With this strategy of utilizing your YouTube content inside of your sales pipeline, you're pushing all of these people to your YouTube channel and your whole entire content catalog. And so anybody who's getting into direct contact with your service now immediately has this huge pool of content and authority that they're going to consume, which is just going to make your sales call so much easier, because now everybody who's actually hopping on a call with you, who might have previously not known about your YouTube channel, now does. So they've consumed the content, they know what you do, they also know a lot more about you, and so now they're not coming into the call asking basic questions and are actually ready to discuss how you can actually help their specific use case. And I know, all of this sounds great, but what if you already have all of these systems and follow-ups put in place just without the content education layer? Like, why fix something that isn't broken, right? But that's the beauty of this, because adding content to your existing sales pipeline doesn't change anything about the system or the structure. You're still using the exact same system, but this time you're adding this extra layer of content that educates, nurtures, and pre-worms your existing leads within your sales pipeline and simply make what's working work even better, and make your sales calls even easier so you can close faster and close better deals, because now the people who are actually going to be showing up to your sales calls are going to be even more pre-qualified. And when you build up your YouTube channel with pipeline reinforcement as the goal as well, the lead generation starts happening on its own. And again, this really isn't getting talked about enough. The videos that are educating your existing leads are the exact same videos that get found by new leads in search or get recommended to your ICP directly through YouTube. With the correct strategy, you're not choosing to use YouTube as just another lead generation source or just making videos to put into your pipeline. Instead, you're creating content that has immediate measurable results while new prospects get naturally warmed up through your content as well. But obviously, all of this works only if the YouTube strategy is actually done right. And if you're just posting random videos that you think are going to be valuable to your prospects instead of what is actually going to educate them and also attract new prospects as well, it's just not going to work. So if you need help building this out, check the first link in the description.